Hi there, this is David and welcome to the Top 10 Best JRPG Moms. In celebration of Mother's Day, I thought that it would be fun to highlight some of the best mothers out there. Many times mothers are just kind of overlooked in games though. They wake you up on your 16th birthday, and then you're on your way out the door to save the day. But not these moms. They're tough, they kick ass, and they are ready to save the world. Number 10. Raquel of Wild Arms 4, released for the PlayStation 2. Spoiler alert, if you have not played this game, you should probably skip this entry. Okay, with that out of the way, tragic does not begin to describe this story. When you first meet Raquel, she is a pillar of strength, a complete powerhouse Amazonian warrior who doesn't take any shit from anyone. However, the strength that she shows on the outside just masks her inner turmoil. You see, she suffers from an incurable disease, and she's searching the world over for the cure. But over the course of the adventure, she falls in love with your super hot black mage Arnaud, and it's revealed during the ending that they do eventually marry, and they give birth to a child. Tragically though, she never does find the antidote, and her body just gives out in childbirth, and she passes away. And, in her death, she brought a wonderful baby into the dying world of Filgaia. Number 9. Sarah of Lost Odyssey, released for the Xbox 360. Lost Odyssey is quite literally a family affair, following a group of amnesiac immortals. Basically, each immortal has lived for about 1,000 years, and they all had many adventures. But a curse follows them because they slowly lose all the memories of those adventures. After the death of her daughter Lyram, Sarah went into seclusion and sealed herself off from the rest of the world because of her deep depression. It's only after a chance encounter with Kaim, her husband, that she rediscovers her memories as his wife and as the grandmother of Cook and Mac. Unlike the rest of the immortals though, she kept diligent journals of her past, so while she didn't remember it all, she still did know of it. Number 8. Miranda of Grandia 3, released for the PlayStation 2. While Grandia as a whole has some pretty great characters, both of the mothers in the series shine. In the first game, Justin's mother Lily was formerly a pirate known as Lily the Skull. Unfortunately though, she doesn't join your party, and I didn't want to crowd this list by having two different Grandia games, so I'll just highlight the playable mother, Miranda, from the third game. She joins up and sticks around with you for a good fourth or so of the game, and at first, she's a single mother, but she eventually meets up with Alonso, and they stay behind, and it allows her son to go off on adventures, learn, grow, and love on his own. It's just unfortunate that once Miranda leaves the party, the entire game just falls off of a cliff. Number 7. Eye of God, released for the SNES. This is such a good game. I do try to bring it up as often as I can, and if you haven't played it, I implore you to look it up. It's a Japan-only translated game in the same vein as, like, Earthbound, except that it takes place in the real world, all over the entire planet, and after an alien attack. Early on, Ai joins you, and she becomes a full-fledged party member, only for her love to blossom with a brash American. But then their passions overwhelm them when a little bit of hanky-panky goes on. She eventually leaves the party to give birth and stays behind at an inn while the party goes off. In a tragic turn of events, though, the place is attacked, and she sacrificed herself to protect her baby from the aliens. Number 6. Elmyra of Final Fantasy VII, released for the PlayStation. Not all mothers have to actually join your party or even be a biological mother to be on this list. Just loving, caring, raising, and protecting is enough for me to be considered a mother, and that's just what Elmyra does for Arius. When her husband died in the war against Wutai, she met Ilfana, dying at the train station and cradling Arius, and her dying wish was for her to protect her, and she did, adopting her and keeping her safe from the Turks as well as Shinra. She helped Arius conceal her powers as she raised her in the epicenter of the planet's death, Midgar. Arius was the one small ray of hope, light, and beauty among this city of darkness. Number 5. Daisy of Breath of Fire 2, released for the SNES and Game Boy Advance. When you first meet Rand, he's drinking his sorrows away at the bar in Corsair. He doesn't really tell you what's bothering him though, but apparently, it's his home life. This big farm boy ran away from home to the big city, and later on, much to Rand's chagrin, he is forced to return home to Farmtown, where he meets his mother, who promptly smacks the crap out of him. Apparently, she is none too pleased with her son's behavior, abandoning her in her time of need and leaving the fields to turn fallow. I can understand her frustration, but deep down, you know that she still loves her muscle boy. I mean, she does make the ultimate sacrifice for him, saving his life, as she is instead crushed to death. Number 4. Terra of Final Fantasy VI, released for the SNES and then multiple systems. Terra is probably the most non-traditional mother on this list, but for those of you in the know, you know why she's here. All throughout the first half of the game, she struggles internally, finding herself, as well as seeing if she has the capacity to love. However, it's not until the world ends that those questions are answered. Mobliz is ruined, and all the adults have died in the protection of their children. And while the children are alone and terrorized, Terra comes to their rescue, and she becomes a mother figure to everyone there. And at first she does say that she lost the will to fight, but later on, when you revisit, she realizes that the best way that she can show her love for the children of the town is to fight to protect them from the terrors of Kefka. Number 3. Selan of Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, released for the SNES. I remember playing this game as a teenager absolutely heartbroken when Maxim dumped Tia like a rotten egg salad sandwich, only to then hook up with Selan, who he just met. But the older that I get, the more I actually understand why he did it. Tia and Maxim just never really had anything in common, whereas him and Selan are two peas in a pod. Shortly after they meet, they marry, and of course, have a baby, Jaren. After Gades is defeated, they believe that peace is at hand, but their hopes are quickly dashed when 2 years later, the Sinistrals reappear, kidnap Jaren, and then put the world in grave danger. And Selan shows her love for her child by fighting to create a safe, peaceful world free of monsters. Number 2. Hinawa of Mother 3, released for the Game Boy Advance. I love this series, and each game has a motherly figure, though in the first 2 games they're pretty much just used as a free in. But in the third game, Hinawa is a living, breathing human being with thoughts, feelings, goals, and aspirations. Also, she's just so much more involved in the plot than the previous mothers. While first introduced as a doting, loving mother to Klaus and Lucas, she's unfortunately fatally wounded early on, which sets forth the events of the game into motion. Her husband Flint lashes out, resorts to alcohol, and is then thrown into prison, while Klaus is presumed missing in the attack. Her spirit also makes an appearance in Chapter 6, and she helps Lucas bring his brother back to his senses later on. And number 1, The Multiple Mothers of Dragon Quest V, released for the SNES, PS2, and DS. This is such a special game. It's near and dear to my heart, and I would dare say that it's also one of my top 3 favorite games of all time. The gameplay is fun and all, but a lot of the charm and plot actually has to do with the mother, or mothers in this case. There are 2 beautiful mothers in this game. The hero's mother, Martha, who sealed away the Dark Lord, and whom you spend the vast majority of the time looking for, as well as your wife, who will become the mother of your children. You actually have a choice of 3 different women to marry. Bianca, the canonical choice and childhood friend, Flara, the doting wife who lived a sheltered life, and Deborah, Flora's sister, who's kind of a bitch. I mean, the subtitle is Hand of the Heavenly Bride, after all. Well, that's it for the top 10 best JRPG moms, and happy Mother's Day from me to all of the wonderful mothers out there. If you like this video and wanted to hear on the channel, please consider supporting me over on Patreon, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or joining the Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.